You are now watching, By the Minute, where we highlight unsolved, unidentified and missing cases across the nation. Many cases go unheard and unseen, but today we highlight missing cases from the Midwest region. Indianapolis, Indiana. June 21, 2015. A mother is missing, while a man is seen parking her car on surveillance. Help us find her and the identity of the man. Larissa Sam, 22, devoted mother, with dreams of stardom, which she plans to showcase on American Idol. Around 1 a.m., Larissa would be leaving work, the now closed nightclub, the Classy Chassis, located in the 4000 block of South Harding Street in Indianapolis. Larissa would head to her uncle's house to hang out and practice for auditions for American Idol. While there, Larissa would make a Facebook post stating, "I want someone to text. Texting buddy," which included her phone number. The following morning, Larissa's grandmother wouldn't be able to reach her, as she was watching her child the day before. She reached out to Larissa's uncle, and he stated, she left around 4:30 a.m., a bit after he had fallen asleep. A missing persons report was filed and police would begin investigating. Within a few hours, police would get a lead. Larissa's car would be found parked in front of an abandoned house in the 2700 block of South Lyons Avenue. Police would get surveillance video of a man parking Larissa's car at 5:01 a.m. and running from the scene. At the scene, Larissa's car, a gold 2006 Dodge Stratus, would have the keys in the ignition with a flat tire. Inside, they would find Larissa's cell phone, credit cards, shoes and other personal items. Police have ruled out robbery as a motive in Larissa's disappearance, and at this time she remains missing. Detectives continue to investigate leads, and with tips, we can get answers to Larissa's whereabouts. Larissa is a Caucasian female, 5 feet 7 inches, 135 pounds, with dyed red hair and tattoos of an ice cream cone and candy across her chest. Please, if you have any tips about Larissa whereabouts, please contact the IMPD Missing Persons Unit 317-327-6160. Sioux City, Iowa. October 5, 1996. A man leaves his best friend at home, and his loved ones know something is wrong. His disappearance could possibly be linked to a Harley-Davidson motor. Kenneth Harker, 34, loves his family, his dog named Kilo, and has a knack for auto repair. As he was in the process of building his own Harley from scratch, Kenneth had recently suffered an auto accident, but it did not hold him back from his independent life. Near this time, Kenneth also bought a house for himself and his dog Kilo. Kenneth's mother was expecting to see her son on October 5, 1996, but he would not arrive. She did not want to worry him, and decided to let Kenneth get back to her. Meanwhile, investigators would get a clue into the start of a missing persons case that would soon be filed. A few days passed and Kenneth's mother decided to stop by his residence, located at 504 Colon Street. Inside, she would find Kilo, and he had not been fed or taken out for a few days. She knew that something was immediately wrong. She also found that Kenneth's medication had not been touched. She would contact police. Police would already have Kenneth's car in inventory when his mother called. They would find his car, a white 1977 Chevrolet Suburban, with its tires flat and out of gas, parked on an abandoned. Police would begin contacting Kenneth's friends. They thought maybe Kenneth would be with him, but he was not. The friend let police know that this was very unlike Kenneth, as he would never leave his dog. The friend also told the police about someone they should look into. Kenneth and his friends were all working on rebuilding motorcycles. They even entered into a competition at a bike shop together. Kenneth and his friends knew of a mechanic that was also known as Shady, but he had the connections to solve the problem with Kenneth's motor. Kenneth was waiting for his motor to be returned, and the friend stated, "It shouldn't take that long, we can work on it together." He told Kenneth to go get it back, but also thought the mechanic may have sold Kenneth's motor for drugs, allegedly. The friend would also allege that a past client that worked with the mechanic went to return for his bike, but a lien was placed on the bike and the client ended up paying for it back. The friend didn't want Kenneth in the same predicament, especially for something he worked so hard on. Detectives would reach out to the mechanic, where he left a voicemail stating that Kenneth picked up his motorcycle and was supposed to come back the next day, but he did not return. A few days later, the mechanic would leave the state. Kenneth's mom does not believe Kenneth picked up his bike because she knew he would have showed it to her due to how much time he put into it. Detectives have searched property of the mechanic's sister, and also used cadaver dogs, but have found nothing. Today, Kenneth remains missing, and foul play is suspected in this case. Kenneth is a white male, 5 feet 11 inches, 160 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He wears eyeglasses and has scars on both of his eyebrows. Due to Kenneth's auto accident, he would be able to live independently but is disabled, and requires medication. At the time of his disappearance, he was 32, and at the taping of this episode he would be around 64 years old. If you have any tips about Kenneth's disappearance or his whereabouts, please contact the Sioux City Police Department. Prairie Village, Kansas. June 20th, 2019. A mother's whereabouts remain unknown, and details surrounding her disappearance seem to change. Today, we ask our viewers for help on finding out the truth. Angela Green, 51, mother and wife, lived in the 7600 block of Tomahawk Road. Angela's daughter would last see her after she returned home from a trip abroad. She would stay at her boyfriend's. She wouldn't hear from her mother, but her father would text her stating he had admitted Angela into a psychiatric facility and that Angela would stay until she had gotten better. Angela's boyfriend's mother asked Angela's husband if she could visit Angela, but allegedly received no response. Weeks later, Angela's daughter and boyfriend would meet with her father to discuss her mother. Her father would state when they met on July 16, 2019 that Angela passed away from a stroke at the hospital. He also advised her not to speak with her mother's family in New York. Angela's daughter was confused about not saying an obituary or hearing about funeral arrangements. So in February of 2020, she took things into her own hands. Angela's daughter would speak with her aunt, Angela's sister, about what her father told her. Angela's aunt would contact her brother-in-law to seek a copy of Angela's death certificate. Angela's husband would allegedly state that he would send a picture of it via text. In the meantime, Angela's daughter would head to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment in Topeka to seek a copy of her mother's death certificate. When she arrived, and after a nationwide search, there was no record of Angela's death and only a record of her marriage certificate. Angela's sister would then call police to complete a welfare check on Angela, and when they asked her husband about her whereabouts, he stated that Angela left off with a friend allegedly. At this time, Angela's husband has now refused to speak with authorities, as advice from counsel. Police are actively investigating Angela's case and she is declared missing and endangered. Angela Green is an Asian female, 5 feet 9 inches, 116 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any tips, please contact the Prairie Village Police Department. St. Paul, Minnesota. May 17, 1977. 2 co-owners of a business would go missing a few weeks after the other. Where could they be? Gino Rinaldi, 26, and Chris Freeman, 30, were the co-owners of a redwood shop located in East St. Paul. Gino and Chris would meet in Arizona. Chris moved to Arizona with a friend with intentions to pursue education at Bell and Howell School. While in Arizona in 1975, Chris would meet Gino. Chris would ultimately decide to pursue entrepreneurship, and brought his new buddy Gino with him back to Minnesota to start their business selling products made from redwood. They would ultimately decide to close their shop in 1977. On May 8, 1977, Mother's Day, Chris would call home to his family and let them know he would not be able to make it home for the family's celebration. This would be the last time he was heard from again. On May 17, Gino would contact his family, letting them know that he would be headed towards Philadelphia with Chris. On May 20, 1977, Gino's sister recalls seeing the pair off as they were headed to Philadelphia. There are also reports that Gino and Chris may have been headed towards Miami, Florida. Today the pair remains missing, and their families have not given up hope on getting answers to what happened. Gino is a white male, 5 feet 11 inches, 150 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He has a tattoo on his right forearm. Chris is a white male, 6 feet 0 inches, 170 pounds, with blonde strawberry hair and blue eyes. If you have seen Gino or Chris, or have any tips about their disappearances, please contact the St. Paul Police Department. Tilden Township, Michigan. June 29, 1981. A night out and an argument would leave a couple separated for the night. One would head to a family member's, but today her whereabouts are still a mystery. It would be a fun night between loving couple Helen Diamond and her husband. As they spent the night out at the Tilden Township Club, located in National Mile. Tilden Township Club is a private members' social club. Helen and her husband were having a great night, until after a few too many drinks the loving couple would have a spat. Like any marriage has its days, the two would separate and call it a night. As they were leaving, Helen and her husband were asked by witnesses if they would like a ride, but they would decline. The couple would end up arguing a bit more, and separate for the night. With Helen going back inside the party at the Tilden Township Club, and Roy driving back to their residence. Helen's son lived close by, and she decided that she would walk to the residence. Helen would be walking down CR 476. Her son would be expecting Helen, but she would not arrive. Helen would be reported missing and detectives would interview witnesses from the party that night. Witnesses do remember seeing a woman walking, and another witness would state that they saw tire tracks in an unusually unaccessed area. Police would search the area and find multiple items. Some of these items recovered were a woman's loafer and a woman's jacket. During the time, authorities did not confirm these items to be belonged to Helen, but with later confirmation the jacket was hers. Detectives made sure to extensively interview witnesses, gather leads, and in conclusion were able to rule out members of Helen's family. But Helen still remains unaccounted for, and what happened to her that night en route to her son's remains a mystery. But we won't let Helen's story stay in the shadows. And hopefully answers come to the light. Helen is a white female, 5 feet 2 inches, 125 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. At the time of her disappearance, she was 48, and at the taping of this episode she would be around 91 years old. Detectives wonder, was this an act of foul play or could it have been a terrible accident? Anyone with tips is encouraged to contact the Michigan State Police. Wildwood, Missouri. September 8, 2015. On a man's upcoming birthday, he would lead his family on a trail that seems to never end. With some birthdays there's joy, and for some there's feelings of sadness. For one man, sadness seemed to be the thought surrounding his upcoming celebration of getting older. Daniel Lambert would be expecting his upcoming birthday, but instead, he would leave his family with a note detailing how he would be saying goodbye to his life. Authorities would head to Daniel's residence, located in the 2300 block of Forest Leaf Parkway in Wildwood, Missouri. At the residence, authorities would find the note. And they would also find a map of Mark Twain Forest. Daniel's car, a maroon 1997 Ford Ranger, was not at the residence, and it would later be found in Washington County at a campsite. Till this day, Daniel still remains missing. Daniel is a white male, 5 feet 10 inches, 180 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. When Daniel went missing, he was 43, and at the taping of this episode he would be around 51 years old. If you have any tips, please contact St. Louis County Police Department. Papillion, Nebraska. March 5, 1981. A woman known to go off for long periods of time with missionaries or various churches, would usually stay in contact with one of her loved ones. That silence has drawn her family to an unfamiliar sense of worry for decades. Anna Chaccio was a woman who loved her religion and some would call a working servant of her faith. Anna, while taking a break from her mission work, would be spending time with her brother at his residence located in Papillion, Nebraska. Anna's brother wouldn't see Anna that morning, and she ended up leaving her winter coat and wallet. This would not make sense, as the temperatures in Nebraska in November would recommend those to bundle up, and where would Anna go without her wallet? Anna's family would think this was suspicious and contact authorities once they hadn't heard from her. Anna's mother thought she saw her, as she was driving past a corner on 42nd and Q Street. Anna's mother would turn around, attempt to park her car and see if the woman was her daughter. Unfortunately, the woman would no longer be there. At this time, Anna is still missing and her family hasn't heard from her since. Anna is a white female, 5 feet 4 inches, 140 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. Anna is considered endangered and missing. If you have seen Anna or have any tips about her disappearance, please contact the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office. Determination, independence and confidence are all qualities of get the job done people. For some, a no does not stop them, and for this one man, it wouldn't either. Mosinee, Wisconsin. April 23, 1988. Patrick Kennedy, 22, and his friend would be staying at the Black Duck Inn, located on Schultz Drive. Patrick would ask his friend for a ride. His friend declined and Patrick would decide to walk to his next destination. That would be the last time anyone has seen or heard from Patrick since. No family deserves to go without answers, and the family of Patrick's has for about 3 decades. Someone out there may have seen Patrick or know his whereabouts today. Let's help authorities get answers to Patrick's family. Patrick is a white male, 6 feet 3 inches to 6 feet 5 inches, weighing 170 to 180 pounds with blonde strawberry hair. He was also wearing wire-rimmed glasses around the time. He would be around 57 this year. If you have any information about this case, please contact the Mosinee Police. Someone from our community is missing and we won't let their name or story be forgotten. Please, any tips can help Patrick's family get answers. Until then, the question of, where is Patrick, goes unanswered, by the minute. Williston, North Dakota. November 11, 2015. When a pair of two goes its separate ways, it was extremely unexpected when the pair wouldn't reconnect again for several years. Where could this other half be? Brenda Sue Murdoch, twin and loving daughter, Brenda was known to keep work through the retail sales and customer service industry. She would be headed on her travels for more work. Brenda would be allegedly hitchhiking when two women would pick her up. As the three chatted in the car, they would learn that Brenda was traveling to South Dakota for work. The women would part ways, but later the two friends would see the news that the women they were driving and talking with was reported missing. They would contact police and let them know about their encounter with Brenda. News reports would recall the occurrence as family members continued to search for Brenda. Brenda's family states this isn't like her, as she would have reached out to her mother to at least let her know she's okay. While that call hasn't come in, we are asking anyone for help in finding Brenda, or letting authorities know where she could be. Brenda is a white female, 5 feet 6 inches, 160 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. Brenda may also go by the last name Romero, or Rodriguez. Anyone with tips is encouraged to contact the Williston Police Department. Middletown, Ohio. 2015 to 2018. 3 women are missing after one of their friends' life was taken. Is it random? Could they all have left the area? Or is there a suspect responsible in this case of suspicious disappearances? Friends would be mourning one of their very own when she was found murdered after going missing back in 2015. A farmer would find a shallow grave, and medical examiners would head out to his property. On Keister Road in Madison Township on September 13, 2015. Examiners would find skeletal remains that would belong to Lindsay Bogan through dental records. Police would look into Lindsay's life and find that she would have a battle with substance abuse, and with her struggles found work in the streets. Detectives would interview multiple people, with some even lying to interfere with this investigation, but there were some that stood up for their friend. Brandy English was friends with Lindsay. Brandy would soon go missing, as she was reported not being heard from by her daughter in May. Brandy would also live a high-risk lifestyle, and authorities are still unsure where she is today. What's even more strange is that more women with similar paths would also go missing from the area. Amber Flack would be reported missing September of 2016. Melinda Miller would be reported missing in February of 2017, and Michelle Bergen reported missing in May of 2017. Unfortunately, Michelle would later be found deceased in 2018. That still means that 3 other women remain missing. And it's important that we make sure their cases are not forgotten. If you have any tips about the missing person cases of Brandy English, Melinda Miller, or Amber Flack, please contact the Middletown Police Department. If you have any tips about the murders of Lindsay Bogan or Michelle Bergen, please reach out to the Middletown Police. Rapid City, South Dakota. May 3, 2021. With cases with few details, they don't receive the coverage they deserve. But that won't stop us from raising awareness, because we know someone out there may have the tips to fill in the gaps. Verdell Brown Bull, 51, and Susan Fast Eagle, 33, would last be seen together around the Memorial Park area. Unfortunately, they haven't been heard from since. Susan's husband remembers her feeling sick that day, and he would head out to grab her food. When she returned, she wasn't there. Her missing persons report would be filed. Witnesses would remember seeing the pair, and now it's been a few years since they've made contact with their loved ones who miss them dearly. Verdell is a Native American male. 5 feet 8 inches, 200 pounds, with gray hair and brown eyes. He is a member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Susan is a Native American female. 5 feet 2 inches, 160 pounds, with brown hair, brown and hazel eyes. Susan also has a tattoo shown here. If you have any tips in either Verdell disappearance, please contact the Oglala Sioux Tribe Department of Public Safety. For tips in Susan's disappearance, please contact the Rapid City Police Department. Every day, 2,300 people on average are reported missing. Some make it home and their cases remain unsolved with questions. That's where we come in as Minute Movers, bringing awareness for people from our very own communities. Thanks for watching, and please keep our missing persons' loved ones in your thoughts and prayers. Subscribe to our channel. You may have tips to help us solve our next case.